New information after a homeowner shot a utility worker. We do know that our Randy Wallace is talking to another Wells Fargo customer out thousands of dollars because of a fraud scheme. First, so let's turn to your weather because we want to know if we're going to be seeing showers later today, tomorrow, the rest of the week. We have meteorologist John Dawson.
Yes.
Yes.
Plenty of rain remains in the forecast. It's not, though, a washout of a situation. Did the rain impact you today?
No.
Not at all.
Not
really?
at all, no.
Interesting. I had like showers across the house all day, kept me from doing all my outdoor activities.
Oh, yes. You know what? It's just so far along. I actually cooked dinner because I couldn't go out this morning. So I decided to cook dinner. Well,
that's a lovely idea.
Right?
Right.
It was
You kind of
really
have to
good.
make the best of the situation. Now, of course, a lot of people didn't see the rain today, and maybe you'll see it tomorrow, maybe you won't. It's those scattered showers and storms. So we sort of check in to see that muggy is certainly something that you can expect, and our futurecast showing that the showers and the storms kind of rolling on through, taking turns. Some people seeing them today, some going to see them tomorrow. Some people will get a little of both. Here's our camera right now in the Galleria area where it's not currently raining, but it was raining at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, I remember, and we'll continue to see a few of those showers across the area. Now, the temperatures have been cooler when we've seen the rain nearby. So that's been a pleasant sort of change in the pattern where instead of temperatures in the mid to the lower 90s, we're stuck in the upper 80s. We'll call it. I think most folks topped out in the upper 80s for those highs. And here we go right now. I've got this. I forgot I put the graphic in here. This is the high temperatures that we've seen across the area today. So no 90s on the board yet. Huntsville at 89. Conroe also made it up to 89. Sugar Land made it up to 88. So again, this could have happened at different times during the day, but you'll notice that average high temperature normally 93. So nice to be a few degrees cooler than that. Here's the Fox Red Storm Seeker radar right now, and you'll notice that in the Houston area, going to zoom in a little bit here for us. Let's just call it Harris County in general. Not a whole lot going on. You can see though over near Katy, we begin to see a little bit more activity just moving through Cinco Ranch and now moving up along the northern side of Interstate 10 there in the Katy region. And then over in Liberty County, we're getting some activity happening over on the eastern half of Liberty County, over kind of moving in to Devers area is kind of what we're looking at. So Conroe, also another shower. Let me take a look at that one. I didn't see that one popping up. Just about to get to the Willis area. And so we'll continue to see those showers and storms kind of moving across the area. Overall, it's going to be manageable, though. Now, if you've been hearing a lot of the stories as far as the national weather, the big talk right now, of course, is that heat dome that's been over the eastern half of the U.S. These are the high temperatures that were recorded today. So yesterday was more or less the peak of this heat wave that sort of hit this part of the country. We had triple digits. It looks like only able to make it up into the upper 90s, but we still have those orange and pink areas representing those heat alerts from the National Weather Service. Now, switching gears to the National Hurricane Center, there was a named storm in the Atlantic for just about 24 hours. Didn't last very long. Andrea is no longer with us, no longer a tropical system, really can't even really pick it out very well. And the good news is we're now back to that quiet pattern. A lot of unusual things to talk about with Andrea and other tropical discussions in general. We always have a lot more time on our YouTube channel to do that. So if you go to YouTube, find the Fox 26 channel, and then every day of hurricane season, even on the weekends, a little bit after 4 p.m., we're able to kind of dive in to kind of unfold and kind of really get into some of the details of what's happening. I can tell you a lot more about Andrea, if you will, and sort of what was been happening. So Futurecast shows as we lose the daytime heating today, we lose the shower activity, but cranking back up early tomorrow morning. Look for those showers and storms to be kind of rolling on through. Humid conditions, of course, and then like today, once the sun goes down, our rain chances are also going to go down. So, Rashi, if you need to do something outside, weekend-oriented, Friday's going to be your best day to try to make that happen. And then Saturday's next up. And then we get a little bit more showers and storms across the area on Sunday. But if you want those temperatures in the mid to the upper 90s, we're saving that for the beginning of July. So you get back into next week, cranking up the heat.
All right. Love it.
All right.
All right. Well, we are learning more about the utility worker who was shot on the job yesterday in Magnolia. Investigators say the shooter was someone inside of the home where the man was working yesterday. Fox 26's Leslie Delaspore is at the scene where all of this unfolded.
Fox 26 News reporter Leslie Delaspore here in Magnolia, Texas, on Rustic Lane, where a 19-year-old utility worker was shot Tuesday around 1:19. Here's what we know so far. 53-year-old Keith Matthews is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for shooting 19-year-old Briley De La Cruz Rodas multiple times. Montgomery County sheriffs say Rodas was shot multiple times after a disturbance between he and Matthews around 1:19 Tuesday afternoon. Now, Matthews is in jail and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Now, I also spoke with another neighbor. She lives nearby, and she told me she doesn't want to be identified on camera, but she came in contact with that utility worker before he was shot here on Rustic Lane. Take a listen.
Morning to finish the fiber cables for AT&T. I don't know what the little box thing is called, but came over, was put in the box. In the morning, happened to see that they were done, but I didn't know that they were putting that in the middle of my yard. So I came out to talk to him. I was like, what is this? Why is it here? And he immediately got, the young man got very defensive and pretty rude. He's like, well, we're really busy right now. So I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to talk to somebody. So give me some phone numbers to call. One wasn't a working number. The other one was the number for the subcontractor company that he works for, that's doing the contract work for AT&T. Anyhow, they left. I called, and they said that they were supposed to put door hangers on the door, which never happened, but said that they would look, but it was like pop, then pop, pop, pop. And then I heard sirens like maybe 10 minutes later. I'm like, what is going on? No one deserves to be shot for something like that. From what I understood, it was an altercation. I mean, yes, the gentleman was rude, but that doesn't mean shoot somebody.
Well, a man accused of pretending to be an ICE agent to pull off a robbery. Houston police say that he actually targeted a victim in West Houston earlier this week. So how can you tell if someone is really a federal agent? Fox 26's Jillian Hartman spoke with local authorities about those warning signs.
Well, Houston police say a man is accused of posing as an ICE agent and robbed someone in West Houston. This happened around 1 a.m. on June 23rd along Skyline Drive, where a 29-year-old victim told police that a man claimed to be an ICE agent and stole his money. Now, the next day, police investigated, and take a look at this video. They say that they conducted a traffic stop in 3rd Ward and took the 37-year-old suspect into custody. So how do you spot an imposter? Joining me now is Constable Alan Rosen. So, Constable, what are the red flags people should look out for?
Well, obviously they should look for a marked official patrol car that has proper markings on the outside, not some old beat up car. They should be looking at them, making sure that it's a uniform that's not a security guard uniform, that you can see the patch. Make them show you the patch to show what agency they're with. ICE agents walk around, generally speaking, when they're going to do an ICE operation with ICE raid jackets on. And they always have their official departmental ID. And if you have any doubt, you can always ask for somebody's official departmental ID. Every officer has one or should have one. And if you're not getting the proper responses from the officer or the person you're dealing with, get on the phone and call 911, because they can also tell you if there is a traffic stop or if there's a police activity going on exactly where you are located. We take those cases extremely serious. If we find out there is somebody impersonating a police officer, a lot of extra resources go to that particular case, because we don't want anybody out there impersonating us.
Well, thank you for that helpful information. So in this recent case, an ICE spokesperson sent us a statement saying, in part, take a look at your screen. It says that this action is not only dangerous, but illegal. Imposters can be charged with various criminal offenses, both at the state, local, and federal level. Right now, Houston police say that charges are pending in this case. Back to you.
Clothing donation box, getting trapped inside. It happened around 1:30 this morning near Crosby Lynchburg Road and Highway 90. Firefighters tried to get him out of the box, but he suffocated. So far, no details have been released. Well, the Harris County Sheriff's Office has released some video from a deadly shooting involving deputies. Investigators say back on May 5th, the man was in a car outside of a clinic on Cypress Woods Medical Drive, and he refused to leave. Well, that's when deputies busted the window of the vehicle, tased the man, and pulled him out.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Deputies say they shot the man when he pulled out a large knife. 65-year-old Ishmael Dennis died at the scene. The shooting remains under investigation. Well, 3 Harris County jail inmates have reportedly died in the last 48 hours, marking 10 in custody deaths this year, and that equals the total number of jail deaths in 2024, so a pretty high number there already. All 3 deaths were related to medical emergencies. The Harris County Sheriff's Office says all 3 men had been in custody for less than 2 weeks at the time of their deaths. This comes weeks after the Sheriff's Office reported the death of a 26-year-old man who investigators say was smoking an unknown substance before losing consciousness. A nonprofit that works to improve conditions in Texas jails is now calling on the Attorney General's office to take action against the Harris County Jail. Well, school districts all across Texas are making their plans after state lawmakers banned students from using cell phones. This is during class time. Lori Brown from Fox 4 in Dallas gets reaction to these changes.
I only have TikTok, but it is like really drawing because it's like video after video after video. And it's like sometimes I'll tell myself like, okay, at 11:30 I'll get off, and then it's like 11:40 and I'm like, okay, 10 more minutes, and it's kind of addicting.
Isabella Cortez and Piper Freeman just completed 8th grade at Dallas ISD's Robert T. Hill Junior High. The school was the first in North Texas to start using yonder pouches, magnetic locking devices that allow students to keep their phones with them. Richardson ISD soon followed at Forest Meadow Junior High, providing us this video.
It just made a lot of people mad about it because they couldn't have their phones.
Piper said the pouches, when enforced, help.
It can be really distracting when you see other kids on their phones in class.
Dallas ISD did not have a district-wide cell phone ban in the last school year. Piper's mom, Megan Freeman, says the new state law is needed.
I love it personally. I think that our school, or I guess maybe DISD or some of the schools that had already had this rule in place were villainized because of it. And, you know, maybe you don't want to go to that school because they have that no cell phone ban there.
The new law does not require locking devices, but it does require that phones are secured away from students in some way. Freeman says she can understand why some parents have concerns.
I also have had that frustration where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could text my son and let him know this thing, or I wish I could text Piper and let her know this thing. So really what it's caused me to do is reevaluate my own communication with my children. I have to be a little bit more proactive with that, or I message the teachers.
As for emergencies, Yonder says law enforcement experts urge students to stay off their phones and quietly follow instructions. Classrooms also have desk phones for 911 calls. Freeman says her son, now in high school, has better social skills thanks to the cell phone-free lunch environment at Hill Junior High.
He said, Mom, you can tell the kids who haven't had Yonder pouches because at lunch, all of us Highlanders, we're talking. And we're visiting with each other, and everybody else is like this on their phone. He said they don't know how to communicate.
Bryan Adams High now also has Yonder pouches. Freeman, vice president of the PTA, says it caused a large drop in fights.
We don't have things starting by somebody said something and they're texting somebody else that causes some sort of issue, or somebody's taking a picture, or somebody's videoing some sort of something that they're going to send to somebody else, and then it causes an issue later. We just don't have that problem anymore.
All right, we have so much more to come on Houston Live and Local, including the new car seat regulations. We'll see you after the break. Nurturing and uplifting moms at every stage of motherhood. That's the goal of Making Me a Mommy. Our Anthony Antoine spoke to the founder, Rashika Kraft.
And I'm so lucky to be joined now with the founder, Miss Rashika Kraft. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. So this is such an important topic to talk about, right?
Yes, it really is. Yes.
What made you come up with this business, and what inspired you?
So you're probably not gonna believe me, but I don't really enjoy motherhood. Love the kids, but so many unknowns when you become a mom. And my first child, I struggled with postpartum depression very bad. But my second one, I didn't. And so what I realized was having the resources and knowledge and being able to have a safe space to open up and talk to other moms to help me with some of the things I'm going through, because not much of it is talked about. It helped me feel better. And so in me having misery and the sacrifice that it takes to become a mom, I realized God called me to turn that misery into a ministry and help other mothers not have to go through the struggles of not necessarily liking the things that come with motherhood. You know, your body changing, struggling with trying to get back to yourself, your identity, just, you know, dealing with how, you know, even though you're a mom, if you have a village and you have help, you know, a lot of the things still fall on you because maybe you're breastfeeding, or, you know, moms just like to do it all. They have their certain way of, you know, we're nurturers. So it feels heavy sometimes. And sometimes it feels like you can't get out of it. So I created Making Me a Mommy to help mothers, people who aspire to be moms, and moms to be, have a better space to grow in motherhood.
So essentially, you're trying to give moms out there something you weren't given, and that's that safe space.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about it. Talk about some of the things you focus on in that conversation with Making Me a Mommy.
So one of the things I like to focus on is mental health. I highly encourage mothers to get therapy and to just have someone that they can talk to, whether it's therapy or counseling. One of the things I think that really helped me while I was struggling with postpartum depression was I was going to marriage counseling. Like I've always gone, I never stopped going. And so it helped me to be able to see things from a different perspective. I don't know what happens in motherhood, but it just feels like your brain gets clogged and you just, so many thoughts and so many things you're thinking, and it sounds crazy. But to have people to help you navigate those thoughts is very helpful. So like making sure that you take care of yourself. So self-care is just it's the highest priority, because if you can't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of anybody else.
Can't pour from an empty cup, right?
No, you can't take care of the babies. You can't take care of your husband, or, you know. And I also preach having a village, and if you don't have one, building one. So I'm really adamant about creating that village, because even though I have a village, my village didn't necessarily have some of the things they needed. So I have to reach out. Like, for instance, I needed a postpartum doula. That changed the trajectory of my motherhood journey when I reached out to get one. I know that's unheard of my mom and my grandma, but for me, that made a world of difference. I was suffering with anxiety at nighttime. I don't know what would happen, but when it would get dark at night, I would get headaches and I was be ready to cry, and just like, it felt like the walls was closing in on me. And I really can't even explain why I felt that way. I just know that, you know, I knew that the baby was going to be up, she was going to be crying, or he was going to be crying at night. And I just felt like it was too much for me. So
spread kind of thin.
Yes. So having a postpartum doula definitely helped alleviate that stress. And at 9 o'clock when she come in, the baby is yours. I got a chance to decompress. I would go for a walk. I would take a long bath and get to relax, and I didn't have to stress. And when she would leave, my husband would take the next shift. So I was getting the rest, because, oh my God, the rest that you do not get when the newborn is there, it drives you insane.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And you know, you talk about Black women and pregnancy and the difficulties associated with that. Sometimes the mortality rates are higher in the Black community when it comes to Black women. Do you talk about some of that stuff as well? You mentioned a doula. I know so many, my sisters, friends, like Black women, the word doula has become something that is really important to their pregnancy success.
So I do actually, and I work with someone who's very profound in the health community. Her name is Dr. Chandra Higginbotham. We actually just had her at the Making Me a Mommy conference, where she spoke on, you know, maternal health, and making sure that, you know, women are preparing themselves well before they get pregnant. She believes that you should be preparing at least 2 years before you get pregnant. What you're ingesting,
All right. Well, from photos and status updates to playlists and personal preferences, you've created a massive digital legacy for your life. But the chances are what you haven't done is plan for what will happen to it when you leave it behind. Consumer reporter Steve Noviello helps you get your plan in place.
You'll also leave a digital legacy behind one day, and those digital assets are becoming increasingly complex as the rules around them continue to evolve. You probably make a deposit into your digital legacy every day, whereas you only may make a deposit into your financial legacy once a week or twice a month. Yet that's where we plan the most. You're really looking at two things here: digital assets like domain names, monetized social media, virtual currencies, things which have an actual numeric value, and also your digital presence, which more has a personal value, things like photos, videos, emails, chats. Some people now even leaving behind a posthumous message. First thing you need to do is create an inventory so you can communicate exactly what you have to your loved ones. Specify in writing what content you want to be preserved or deleted or shared. Log your passwords and designate a digital executor, which, by the way, may not be the same as your financial executor. If you do nothing, there may not be any laws in place to protect you. Things are not really as comprehensive as they are when it comes to money and property, which is why this is so important. In fact, right now, it's likely harder to access somebody's Instagram account than it is to access their bank account. Most terms of service specifically prohibit access by anyone other than the current account holder. There's also so many inconsistencies in limiting, memorializing, or deleting inactive accounts, and service providers often prioritize data privacy over family access. So the bottom line here is really this. The first thing you should do is to check with the service providers of your current accounts. Companies like Meta and Google do have a plan in place to allow you to turn these into legacy or memorialized accounts. Also keep in mind, remember who the people are and update the list when necessary in terms of who you want your account managers to be. Just like any other designation, this is something that you need to do in a legally binding way. But if nothing else, the best part, start that inventory, make it as detailed as possible. Something as simple as access to your Spotify playlist may be of great value to someone when they want to personalize your memorial. I'm Steve Noviello. That's my 2 cents. Spend it wisely.
All right, let's talk about car seats. Parents have more time to prepare for the new car seat regulations, but they were set to take effect next week, but now that's been delayed until next year, so you have a little bit more time. But Heather Sullivan is in the Fox 26 parking lot to share some smart sense.
New safety regulations are coming to children's car seats to help protect kids, particularly when it comes to side impact crashes. The good news is many seats have already implemented some of this, but I'm joined right now by Nicole Peak. She is a health education specialist. She specializes in child safety seats for Texas Children's Hospital. Thanks for being with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So the good news is some of these seats already have this technology. What's the new regulation going to do, and what should we be looking for?
So the new regulation is mostly going to impact the manufacturers themselves. As far as consumers, as long as you've purchased the car seat, it's not recalled, expired, it's perfectly safe to use as long as you're following the manufacturer's instructions.
What kinds of things should we be looking for?
So as far as side impact protection, they've already been doing some of these independently. It may change as that regulation is now standardized, but you'll see a lot of these seats, they'll say side impact tested like this one, as well as if you look over here, this one, that SIP, when you see that means side impact protection, labels like this. Or you may even have something that you may have to do something additional to, such as this one. Whatever side is closest to the door, you pop out to engage that side impact protection. As long as that car seat, even if you don't see that label, it will have on the sticker that it meets federal motor vehicle safety standards, and you're good to go.
Yeah, and so it did have a June 30th deadline for the manufacturers to start implementing this. They're talking about extending that now. But the good news is, like you were saying, a lot of these seats have already been tested for this. What are some of the other things that we should be looking for to make sure that the seats are safe? You mentioned the labels on the side.
Yeah, just the label. They'll all have a sticker as well that will tell you the date. So you actually see this one is expired already. However, they are already doing a lot of that side impact protection already in the car seat. So making sure that child fits within the height, weight, age requirements of the car seat, and you're following the guidelines on the labels as well as your instruction manual.
And you mentioned making sure the seat's not been recalled. How do you check to make sure that that's not happened?
So when you purchase the car seat new, or if you have a car seat, you lost that that registration card that it came with, you can go to the manufacturer website. So in this instance, Up a Baby, Graco, find where it asks you to register that seat. You'll fill in your information, and then that way there is a recall or a safety piece that will send you that in the mail or send you that update.
You can make sure that it's all properly set up.
Yes.
And you guys offer a great service that helps parents check to make sure that their seat meets all of those guidelines and is installed properly.
Yeah, so family, it's a completely free service. You can work one-on-one with a certified technician in your vehicle, your car seat, your child, to make sure that your car seat, the harnessing, everything's set up correctly.
Okay, so you want to go to Texas Children's Hospital. We've got the number at the bottom of your screen. In Houston, Heather Sullivan, Fox 26 News.
All right, we'll be right back. A local family is searching for justice as their loved one's killers are still on the run. Here's Abigail Dye.
June 6th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m., 4 armed, masked men stormed into this house on Thornwall Street. They ransacked the place and then shot 31-year-old Julian Castro in the face, killing him. To this day, none of those men have been identified or charged.
Where they ransacked and opened the door and went into Julian's room while he was sleeping, and one of them shot him there while he was in his room in bed.
The doctor told me that it was probably pretty quick, that he, probably didn't suffer much, but at the end of the day, he was killed in the face, pretty close. So it was devastating to the whole family. I'm just going to keep pushing. I'm not going to let it go until there's some sort of justice. I owe it to him. As a mother, it's my duty, it's my want and my will.
It's like your way of continuing to take care of Julian.
Yeah, his name, it's just the right thing to do. He didn't deserve it. Our family didn't deserve it.
Crime Stoppers has increased the reward for information in this case to $15,000, and Castro's family says that they're offering an additional $10,000 on top of that. For information on how you can submit tips, go to this story on fox26houston.com. For Fox 26 News, I'm Abigail Dye.
All right, Abigail, thank you. And now Fox 26's Randy Wallace is joining me. Randy, I understand that you're looking into another fraud victim from a Wells Fargo scheme.
Yeah, this one is a little bit different. Roberta Thompson, she's a school bus driver, lost $20,000, lost all of her money. This scheme was a little bit different, where it started out like most of them do with a text, but then she got a phone call from someone claiming to be from the fraud department with Wells Fargo. Let's take a listen to the tape. June 12th, you get a text from what you believe is the Wells Fargo fraud department.
Yes. It said, "Hi, this is Wells Fargo fraud department, and we see that you had some transactions that you said you did not make. We're trying to go ahead and we're going to suspend your account."
You withdraw everything in cash. And then you go to the ATM that's outside of the bank and put the money in. That's what you were told to do.
Yeah, from who I thought was the fraud department.
What did you think when you realized that someone had stolen your money?
That was it. That's all I had. That was my savings. You know, that was my way of paying all my bills and what I needed to do. So I wanted to faint. Like, I was sick to my stomach.
What a hard situation there.
Yeah.
And when you're so vulnerable at the time, I mean, you're, okay, this is the fraud department. I'm not thinking anything else. I'm panicked,
And
right?
Rashi, she's also got some pretty good proof too. She called the number back and recorded it and videoed it. So you see her calling this 805 number, the one that came up on her phone. And this guy just basically says, "I took your money, stop calling me, leave me alone." And then she called it later on, and for a while they would still answer the phone saying Wells Fargo fraud department. Now, we haven't heard back from Wells Fargo yet. I reached out about this case to them yesterday morning. I'm really hoping that they take a good look at this and give this woman her money back.
Oh my gosh, yes, definitely. All right, Randy, thank you.
Sure.
Well, a popular music school in Houston in Texas facing some serious allegations from employees. Here's Sherman DeSalle trying to get to the bottom of it.
I'm Sherman, working on a story. This is Vivaldi Music Academy. You've probably seen a lot of these buildings across Houston, known as a premier place for young students to learn music. We've been hearing that there's been some payment discrepancies amongst former staff and current staff, including musicians. So let's go in there and ask them what's up. Trying to get a hold of your chief operating officer, Mr. Munoz.
She's not in this location.
She's not in this location.
Can I take a message?
Yeah, sure. We have spoken to several former staff members who tell us that there's some payment discrepancies. People aren't getting their paychecks. Music instructors aren't getting their paychecks. I reached out to Missy via email. I called her phone. Okay.
What is your name?
Sherman DeSalle.
Sherman?
And DESSELLE. I'm with Fox 26.
All right, we'll have to see what comes out of that. Now, developing news in the federal trial of rapper and media mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors in the case have dropped key charges against the media mogul just a day before closing argument. The dropped charges include attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, aiding and abetting sex trafficking. The prosecution and defense are meeting with the judge to decide how the changes will be explained to the jury. Both sides rested their cases yesterday. Closing arguments will start tomorrow, and Diddy's lawyers claim the sexual encounters outlined in the case were consensual. I'm joined now by Fox 26 senior legal analyst Chris Tritico to talk about today's developments. So why would the prosecutors in the case do something like this to drop those charges?
So at the end of a long trial like this, you have a lot of charges. The prosecution has been evaluating the case throughout the trial and looking at what can we prove and what might Diddy win on. And if they feel like these cases are tenuous at best, then they're going to drop those cases and just drop them out of the indictment so that the jury doesn't get hung up on these weak cases and say, you know, they didn't prove in this, maybe they haven't proven anything. And so they'll take those out, just dismiss them, so that now we've got what we think is the strongest indictment for to go to the jury, and now we got what we think we can convict him on all of these.
And so what do they have left now?
Well, you've got the direct cases, I think, is what's left. The kidnapping, the drugs, and the sex cases. And you've got basically the attempts are out, and I think they dropped out the sex trafficking case. I think they dropped out. So the RICO, I think, is gone. You got the direct crimes.
Do you think that this is, I mean, obviously a strategic route for the prosecution side, but do you think for the defense would have to agree on something like this, or what do you think that they're thinking?
The defense has no say in this.
Okay.
The government brings the indictment, and they get to charge what they're going to charge, and they get to at the end of the day, they get to send to the jury what they think they can win on.
So is this why do you think they made such a move like this, the prosecution?
I think they want to send into the jury the strongest indictment they can. We think we're going to win on these cases, on these indictments, on these charges, so we're going to drop out of the indictment what we think we might lose on.
Oh, just looking back at it, there was just so much testimony out there that was, basically supporting some of these charges that are now dropped. So isn't it hard for the jury to sort of compartmentalize what was given to them and what wasn't?
So understand that they dropped the attempts.
Okay.
Not the direct cases. So you got kidnapping and attempted kidnapping. Mm-hmm. So the kidnapping's still there. They just dropped the attempted kidnapping. And so they don't want the jury to get hung up on an attempted kidnapping when we think we've proven the kidnapping.
So I guess I was just also thinking about the arson, and when the testimony was coming up that he had hired somebody to do it.
Yeah, so they'll explain that in final argument. The government will say, you heard a lot. I'm guessing, but you heard a lot of testimony about the burning of the car, and at the end of the day, we dropped that case. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. Let it go. Forget about it, and let's talk about these other things. And the jury either understands it or they don't.
And what did you think about the decision for Diddy to not take the stand?
Oh, I thought that was I didn't disagree. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there, and I haven't talked to Sean Combs, but those decisions are made throughout the trial. Lawyers and clients you may have an idea going in, but you're going to evaluate the case as it goes. And for me, a lot of times that decision is made at the last minute. The final decision is made right at the last minute, whether you think that it's a necessary move for the client of the defendant to take the stand. You may know ahead of time whether you think it should, but you don't know until the very end if he's going to. And so I didn't think it was a bad move, mm-hmm. And it happens a lot that the defendant doesn't testify.
And now looking forward, I know that's really hard to tell how long a jury would take, but for a case this size and the amount of testimony there's been and how long it's been, what do you think that it's going to be timeline-wise for us to see some results?
There's really no way to know an answer to that. The jury, it depends on a lot of factors, and the first factor is how convinced are they now? When that door closes, how convinced are they in the beginning as to guilt or innocence? It has to be 12 either way. In other words, it has to be unanimous for guilt, unanimous for not guilty. And so if they're already convinced, it could be a very short deliberation. If they're radically split, then it could take a long time. You just don't know what it's going to be.
All right. Chris Tritico, thank you so much for your expertise. All right, well, a major battle over flood prevention dollars and unfinished projects is almost certain to unfold Thursday at Harris County Commissioner's Court. Fox 26 political reporter Greg Grugan telling us what's at stake and why everyone should care.
This battle is about unkept flood control promises made to the public and which portions of Harris County will be shortchanged protection as a result of pure partisan politics. Now, back in 2018, in the wake of Hurricane Harvey's devastation, voters approved a $2.5 billion bond issue for dozens of designated flood prevention projects. In the 7 years since, the county has run out of money to complete all the projects it's promised. That's left commissioners in the position of deciding which projects will be finished and which will be abandoned. a process that's certain to involve conflict, because Commissioner Rodney Ellis has already managed to direct nearly double the dollars to his Precinct 1 than have been allocated to any of the other 3 precincts. Bob Rehak, publisher of Reduce Flooding Now, says Ellis has succeeded in grabbing the most resources by claiming to rectify past racial disparities.
You're not allocating money based on flood risk or damage. You're allocating money on the basis of race. You know, and if you're Black or Hispanic and you have the worst flooding in the county, you should get fixed first. But that wasn't the case in Harvey. And what we see is money going to those neighborhoods, and you know, white neighborhoods are being ignored. That this is not really about equity, it's about politics. It's about a money grab.
Just for the record, Rehak's neighborhood in Kingwood was under 22 feet of water during Harvey and hasn't received a single dollar in new flood control infrastructure. Meantime, Precinct 3 Commissioner Tom Ramsey tells Fox 26 that if cancellation of flood projects is not fairly divided between the 4 precincts, he intends to ask Texas Land Commissioner Don Buckingham to intervene and, if necessary, withhold up to $1 billion federal grant dollars from Harris County until the issue is justly resolved. In the studio, Greg Grugan, Fox 26 News.
All right, Greg, thank you. We'll be right back. Well, the Rockets might not be slated to make a pick in tonight's NBA draft, but there's still ample excitement around Kevin Durant. Hall of Famer Calvin Murphy weighs in.
Big for the Rockets. Big. They finally got a player that they can go to, the go-to man in the last 4 minutes. You know, somebody that's been there, done that. I'm surprised they were able to get him. I'm glad they got him. But, you know, Dylan the Villain was my man. Hate to see him go. But it's all about business. I had a chance to say goodbye to him. And of course, with Jalen, you know, fourth year, I kind of suspected something was going to happen after that playoff series. But both of them are very talented and they're going to do well. But to go back to your question, having KD here, it don't get no bigger than that. It don't get no bigger than that. Right now, the expectations of getting to the finals are very, very, very high. I'm talking about with me now, not the fan. You know, this is my 57th year with the Rockets. And when you can get something into the organization to excite me, you've done something well. So it doesn't get any better than this right now for the Rocket organization and the Rocket fans.
What's the feedback that you're getting about having Durant as a Rocket that you're just kind of hearing from Rockets fans?
Championship, you know that. That's all they're talking about. You know, the Houston sports fan, you know, they're used to the best. So when they see something that has the potential of being champions, that's all they talk. And right now, you know, with this young nucleus they have, and then of course you still got Van Fleet running the show, and you add KD into it, that breeds championship, and they don't want nothing but that. Now, is that pressure on KD? No, because he's done it before. That's pressure on me as a broadcaster to try not to put him on the hot seat.
How do you feel like he fits in? Because the struggle was half-court offense. And how does he energize them in the half-court?
When you talk about half-court basketball, that's half of the game. Because teams are going to try to slow the Rockets down, obviously, because of the athleticism. But you can't slow them down now and put with KD in the half-court? Are you kidding me? So that's the perfect offensive weapon. You got a half-court weapon, and you have those young legs that want to get up and down the floor and put some numbers on the board.
Any concerns about his age?
Hey, they told me I was too short to play in this game. Remember that. And I lasted and got into the hall. I don't want to hear nothing about negativity. This man is a proven champion. Now, excuse my language, but the hell with those naysayers.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's going on this weekend. A lot of excitement around Beyoncé and her tour coming to H-Town. Here's Coco Dominguez.
H-Town, this is not a drill. Beyonce is coming home. It is Beyonce week. I'm Coco Dominguez here in Third Ward, 2300 Pierce. The latest, most beautiful Beyonce mural that is right here. Lots of people have been stopping by, taking pictures here at Grooves Houston. But the entire city has activated Beyonce-themed celebrations, including the Marriott Marquis, which is hosting 2 days of Cowboy Carter fun. The party's kicking off at the Altitude Rooftop and Pool with Cowboy Carter themed rooftop bash. It's a live DJ spinning Beyonce all afternoon and a karaoke contest. There's also a pre-VIP concert experience you can dive into in the presidential suite. Kind of an intimate deal. They're going to be having some Sir Davis whiskey cocktails and some Southern bites with some cute backgrounds. And it also includes the best part, VIP transportation to and from the concert. Who doesn't want to not deal with all that traffic? So that's something that you could do at the Marriott Marquis. And also, if you're checking into the Marriott Marquis, you can immerse yourself into the lobby experience with vendors and branding, including hat branding. Now, as part of the Pride festivities this week, there is a Beyonce-themed dance party celebrating Cowboy Carter with a sweet honey hoedown happening at the Art Club at Post Houston. Live DJ sets and a live drag performance by local favorite Rain LaRue and Best Dressed contest for the guests in their most iconic cowboy couture. And right here at Grooves Houston, from the 27th through the weekend, they've got line dancing in there. They've got Beyonce-themed drinks. They've got a mechanical bull. I know you went and got your cowboy hat, so make sure you stop on by here, get your picture with this beautiful mural right here. And we're going to have the artist, the muralist, is going to be joining us at Texas Live and Local on Wednesday, myself with Anthony Antwine. Join us then and enjoy Beyonce. Welcome home, baby. It's Coco Dominguez in Third Ward. It's Fox 26 News.
All righty. Well, we have the Rock the Runway fashion show happening, and hopefully we'll be able to bring some of that to you. But in the meantime, let's talk to the one, the only, John Dawson.
Well, I thought someone would have given me a heads up that I was about to be my turn. I'm getting the graphics ready now, though. But yes, I think...
While you get the graphics ready,
can
I ask you a question?
Let's talk.
So, how is your garden?
It is... It's like, I think we've peaked. I think we peaked. And no, it's just that, like, you know, the tomatoes, they get where they're just a little unruly and they're kind of
All
everywhere.
there,
There's still some tomatoes that are being produced. And then today I was on the porch and 3 birds came in and landed in the middle of my tomatoes. And I said, what is this disrespect? Like, I'm sitting right here.
Do they want some tomatoes?
Oh, yeah, they want my tomatoes.
Well, the tomatoes are delicious.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for bringing me a bag.
They were really good this year.
Yes.
I will
Very
admit to
good,
that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of maybe we're peaked and it's just not as pretty and bountiful.
Got it.
But still making some tomatoes.
That's good. That's all that really matters. Well, in the heat, it's hard to survive, but those tomatoes survive only
yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, no, they've been doing good. You got to keep the water going.
Yeah.
Got to keep the water going for sure. And I was looking at this tower cam. Let me a little bit of rain happening
Oh,
here.
yes.
I'm trying to figure out which tower cam this is. I don't recognize it, to be perfectly honest.
And do you know every time that I fly into Houston,
Yes.
I look out the window,
Right.
and I am always confused at what I'm looking at.
It takes a minute, right?
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Versus my husband who's like, oh, that's this. This
Yeah.
is this. So that's what that reminded me of. So there's that.
Well, so take a guess. Where do you think
I have
that?
no idea. I think this could be an I-10 situation, maybe, but it looks like I don't know what this is. I don't know what we're looking at here, but it looks like it's raining there.
Totally. I think
Yeah.
that's why the camera's pointed that direction,
Yeah,
just for our
definitely.
benefit there.
Yeah.
Okay, I tell you what, we've got a future cast I
Okay.
can show you
Well, that's nice.
on our graphics.
All
and
right.
you'll see that as we get through the daytime heating, boom, we're done. Rain going down, not looking at any, but cranking back up early tomorrow by 7 a.m. or so. Rashi, you still staring at that
I
map.
am. I'm trying to figure it out.
All right, so by tomorrow morning, we're already beginning to get those showers and storms kind of fired up just a little bit, and they'll be moving on through. And a lot like today, if you're not seeing the rain, it's going to be warm, it's going to be humid. Then we've got these isolated to scattered downpours that are happening, and that'll give you a little bit of a cool down briefly, and then you wait and see if your turn's next again, get some more rain. But it's one of these situations for sure to where, we're going to be seeing rain across the area. Many of us will see a little bit of it, at least some of us might see a little bit more, and we will lower the rain chances once we get into Friday. That's going to be your best day for outdoor activities. Notice we're warming up a little bit, and then over the weekend we've got some hit or miss showers remain in the forecast. And the ever so popular Saharan dust?
Yes.
Well, it's coming back.
Oh.
Make sure you're ready.
Okay.
Into the weekend, still working on the timing a little bit, but into the weekend, that Saharan dust moving back in. And so if it continues to remain as thick as what it's sort of looking, then that's going to really cut down those rain possibilities. It makes it harder for the storms to happen.
Yes.
And so drier air, warmer. So drier, hotter. It's kind of what we're looking at in the beginning of July when we get into Monday.
Yes, when we get into Monday, it's already here, and we can confirm this is Houston. Because at first I was like, I don't even know if this is Houston, but
it's
it
gotta
is.
be
It has
Houston,
to
right?
be Houston. We're just trying to figure out where exactly in Houston. But as always, JD, I appreciate you coming in last minute. Now we're going to go to a fashion show, a pretty big fashion show, actually. It's the Pride celebration at Warehouse Live. Let's take a look, see what we are looking at here. A lot of fashionistas. And this is called the Rock the Runway Fashion Show. And you can see that people are starting to get ready. The fashion show hasn't started yet, but a lot of people are expected to attend Rock the Runway Fashion Show. I think this is the first time that this is happening, but I'm trying to get some more information on this. And again, at Warehouse Live. And it's a celebration, Pride 365, Pride Houston 365, returning to the runway at the celebration of those hot styles, the latest fashion and ladies' evening wear, and plenty of avant-garde statements from LGBTQIA+ designers. The tickets $10 in advance, but obviously this has already started, so we're starting to see people actually walk that runway. A lot of great ensembles there, and it's something that a lot of people look forward to, and you can see people are dressed up to their nines to make sure they are out there and supporting this big event. And the good news is hopefully the rain's kind of held up for them here at the fashion show. Again, this is the fashion show, Rock the runway fashion show over at Warehouse Live in Midtown and Pride Houston 365. They're the ones that return to the runway with the celebration, and you're going to see all kinds of amazing styles. So hopefully this will be starting up pretty soon, but the tickets were $10, not too bad at all for this, and it will be happening pretty soon. So we're going to continue to show some of this event here. But for now, I really do appreciate you watching Houston Live and Local. I will be anchoring Fox 26 News at 9 and hope to see you there. Good night.
Hey, when I say scroll, you say club. Scroll. Club. Scroll. Club. What's going on, Scroll Club? It's your girls, Jen and V, and we are here with another fabulous popping episode. And we're going to kick it off with a new segment for you guys tonight.
Yes, I'm excited about this segment too.
But before we go to the segment, we got a refreshing drink here. We hope you guys have your bevies ready.